Junkyard Junkie, back here with another video. Today we're actually going to be installing a $59 radio. This is bought off eBay. This radio is supposed to have a backup camera, a built-in mic, touchscreen, all for that affordable price. So we're going to find out today if it's junk or if it's good. I've seen a lot of good reviews, so I'm hoping it's going to be a good radio for this car. We are working on a 2004 Toyota Camry. So as you can see, it's already got an aftermarket radio in there. It's a single DIN. But what you want to do is you want to take your pry bar or pry tool, just pry this out right here by the AC controls. Okay. Then you gotta, right here on the top of this one's where you push down to pull out. And then on this one, it's also on the top. So, one there, one there. And they're already pretty much going to stay where they're going to stay at, so wouldn't worry about that. We're just getting it out of our way for right now. Okay, so what you want to do now is there's 4 10mm bolts. You got one here. You should have one here. And way up in there you have another one, and right up in there. Okay, so we're just going to take those out. Should be 3. Be careful because you can accidentally drop them in there and then you're going to have to get a magnet and fish them out. Okay, so we'll get our pry tool again and pry this off. Be very gentle, you don't want to break it, which these are pretty sturdy, but pull it out like that. Okay, so right here's that little button you press. It's on the bottom side, so it's like it's upside down. So when you reach in here, you press down on the middle in here, on the bottom, pull out. There's the connector. So it'd be like that. So you just reach over, just grab it right there, pull up and pull out. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and pull this out. Someone's been here before. So just go ahead and unplug it for now. Put it down on the floor. Okay, so we're just going to lift this up. These are the 2 connectors we need right here. Okay, so as you can see, one of your metric connectors will fit right there. And then your other one will fit right here. Oh, backwards. Just like that. Okay, as you can tell, someone's been here before me. And they cut it and then reattached it with butt connectors. With these harnesses, you should never have to do anything to these back wires unless you have to replace the whole wire or something like that. You should never tap into them or just do this. You're asking for trouble at this point. And they did it to this one over here as well. So just don't do that. I don't even understand why they did it. Maybe they broke it. I don't know. Look right there, they didn't even put it together. They literally just spun it together and said it was okay, which it doesn't go to anything. I don't know why they did it in the first place. It goes to remote control, steering wheel system, or steering wheel remote control, whatever, which this car does not have. So why they did that, I don't know. Okay, so that package did come with one more thing. This should be the backup camera. We'll open that up. There's the camera right there. And then we have our video wire with our trigger. It's really nice of them to actually, you know, put a trigger that will go from this side all the way up to this side. And then this pretty much powers our little camera. And there goes 2 screws. Okay, so this is where we're going to be installing our camera. But we're actually going to take this off. Okay, so first we want to remove this little felt. And it's just held in there by Phillips head. Once you unscrew it a little bit, then you get a pry bar and pry it out. That's all it is just a, goes in there. Once you push that in, those expand. Okay, so now that we got this peeled back, if you look up here, all that's holding this little chrome piece on is that bolt right there, that clip, this white clip, this bolt, and then another white clip and another bolt. So we're going to get those out and pull it off. It's 10mm. Just a 10mm nut. Do the other side. Some needle nose pliers. Just like press it in. Okay, so you also want to get both of these out right there. Just pry it out gently so you don't break it. This whole metal piece will come right off. Okay, so if you can see there, I went ahead and marked where my holes will go with a Sharpie. We're going to go ahead and drill that out and then put those screws in. Okay, as you can see, we got it drilled in there. Okay, so there's no way to go in through here, so we're going to actually drill us a hole, because all that's going to be covered up by that chrome piece anyways, so you ain't got to worry about it. I want to make sure there's nothing behind where you're drilling. If I look, this is a good spot right here in between. Okay, now we got a hole for our wires to go through. Okay, so now that we got that, still not big enough, but it's always good to start off with a lower size. That way you can always get bigger. Okay, so now that we got it drilled out, just want to pull it down, stick your wires through. Feed them all the way through. And I'm just going to line this back up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the nuts back on it. Okay, so now that you got that run, now we want to hook up our ground and power. Okay, so usually when I'm hooking these up, I will run a power wire from the front all the way back here to the camera and only use the reverse lights as a trigger wire, but it's okay to use it as your power wire too. I've done that before and it's just fine, and that's what we're going to do on this one. So first you want to figure out how to get to your reverse wires. This one's pretty easy. You go in here and it is this bulb right here, this white one, And then we want the power wire, which we're going to test for with a test light. Okay, as you can see, the reverse light is lit up. We're going to use a test light. All you gotta do is connect the other end of the test light to a ground. Connect it up there. And then I also have these little back probes. So we'll stick this in the back of it. And we got power. So that's the one we need to go into. Okay, so we're going to use a wire tap. Tells you exactly how to do it, so it's pretty easy to follow. Put it over your wire that you want to go into, and then clamp, put that on there, and you're good to go. Okay, so with it turned off, just twist it to the side, pull it out. Usually they give you more room than this, but it's alright. Okay, so you just want to take your tap, put it right in the middle, close this up. Once you get it started, you want to get pliers. Okay, so you just want to get pliers and secure that connection. I heard it click. And what we'll do is we'll get the other end, we'll connect it, and then we'll also check for power right here to make sure that it's getting power. So stick that spade in there. We're going to put it in reverse and see if it's got power right there. Okay, once again I have my test light hooked up. We're just going to touch it right up here and we get light, so that means it's good. Okay, so we're going to take the spade back off. Okay, so I ran my wire down here. We're going to just take a pair of strippers. These are the automatic kind. Just stick it in here. So we'll go ahead and attach this spade. What I like to do first is twist this wire so it goes in a little easier. Now all you do, stick it right in there. Crimp it, pull it to make sure, don't pull too hard. That's good to go. So now we're just going to plug that in. Make sure it goes in there and clicks. Now then we're just going to put our reverse light back in. Now click and close up that compartment. And if you see what I've done here, I ran it from there on up here to where it comes out right here. Now we're going to run it up right along with that wire loom. Okay, so even though all this is going to be hidden, we still want to zip tie it so it ain't flopping around. Zip tie it right there. Okay, so the black plug-in goes to the red. You can't mess it up because that's a male and that's a female. And then we want to ground the black wire and connect this red to the wire we just ran up through here. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of make this look a little bit better and go ahead and connect it right here with the wire loom with zip ties, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I usually do is right here on the trunk, hold the trunk up. I usually pull that out and get like a connector like this, stick it through, and put it back in. Now this is for a bigger wire, and these cheap Chinese stuff, they give you the thinnest wire they possibly can. So I'll also stick a bigger piece of wire in there with it. So what I'll do, stick that in there. I'm gonna give it a tug, not too much. This other side I just leave empty. but just a tug, it's in there good. And now we're just gonna fold this back up. That'll give us our ground. Okay, so we have the wire we ran up here to where it can connect to this one. We're just gonna cut it off. Go ahead and strip it. This reverse light, this is connected to the reverse light. This is going to power our regular power, which we'll go ahead and cut and strip. The one that comes from the black, it's red. I'll go ahead and cut that off. Go ahead and strip it. Okay, so you just want to go down to the bevel on both sides. This is the wire, since it's thick, we're gonna put it in right there, crimp it, give it a little tug, not too hard, just make sure it's in there good. And we'll go down to this other end of this bevel. So you just want to take your trigger wire and your power wire, just try to spin those together. Take, shove it in right through here, crimp it, give them both a nice little tug, not too hard because they will pull out, they're cheap wires, and then we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and zip tie this up here too, just to keep it out of our way. I'm not going to bore you with this part, but all you got to do is make sure there's a gap between this end right here, just like that. Because if it's pushed in, it spreads these out. So all we're going to do is push them in and then push that middle piece in after it's in, and it'll lock in. So right here, push it in, pop that in, now it's locked in. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the rest. I'm not going to bore you with that, but just put them all back in like they came out. Okay, so now that you got that all buttoned back up, just close it down. Okay, so we got this ready to go. It's all mounted up. We just gotta put the license plate back on. Okay, so the main rule of thumb when you're doing this, you want to hide the wires. I got this wire going up here and then into that liner all the way back to where the trunk lid is connected. And from here, we'll just sit here and run it all the way to the front, and I'll show you how we do that. Okay, so what you'll do is where it comes through here, you want to go through the back side of this. Just stuff it into the seat itself. Come out down here, and we're going to take this little plastic trim off and put it underneath that. Okay, so looking right here, usually you can just grab up underneath, pull it up like that. We're just going to run it through. I'm going to pull this line through so it gets straighter. Okay, so now that you got it straight, we'll tuck it under this in just a minute. We're just going to put this back over it. Should slip right back on. Make sure the wire don't come out. There we go. Now as you can see, it's hidden. Okay, so this is going to be hard to record. But what I do is I take this pry tool, I get it straight, and then I just tuck it in. Okay, as you can see now, I've stuffed the wire in between the B-pillar. So now go ahead and lift this up. Someone's been here once before with this copper wire. We're just going to tuck it in on both sides. Just like that. Now then, we should be able to put it back down. Should hear a good snap. For this last stretch, you want to tuck the wire up under here. Tuck it up under there. Then you just want to run it up here and secure it with zip ties. Just find you a route. Doesn't matter as long as it doesn't get in the way of your brake pedal. You don't want it to get in the way and get snagged, or your gas pedal. And then there will be an opening over here that we'll find. So if you look through right here by the steering wheel, where the air ducts are, you can see daylight, you can see the floorboard. So that's where we'll come up through. Okay, as you can see, we ran that wire, hit it behind this, comes up, comes out right there, comes over, and we zip tied it right up under here. And we ran it straight through here, and we brought it on out here. So now it's ready to go into the radio. Okay, so here's the box. Go ahead and open it. Comes in this plastic container, keep it from getting scratched and dinged up, which is good. There's our radio. We also have 2 connectors and a remote and instructions. Okay, so on the back side of this is where each one connects in. One should be a tad bit bigger than the other. They got these little things on the side right here. Right here, they got that. So they can only fit in one way. One's a little bit further down, one's like directly in the middle. But for now, we're going to take them back out. Okay, so here's the 2 for the radio. And we want to connect them to our adapters. And this part seems daunting to people, but it's really easy. The only difference is like if you want to solder them, soldering's easy. This time I'm on crimp, just because I feel like everybody can do that. It's a real easy way to do it. But if you want a video on soldering, I can show you how to solder these wires for the best connection. But crimping them, they've always lasted me, so I don't see a problem with crimping them. Some people wire nut them, where they screw that little wire nut into them. I don't really like those too much. A lot of times they don't get good connection or they don't last long. So I would either crimp it or solder it. So all you'll do is you'll find, like, this is a green with a black stripe, and then you got a regular green. These are most likely your speaker wires. Usually, you know, your red and orange or yellow is your power for the thing, but you just find the corresponding colors. So like right here we have green. Yeah, so here's a solid green. So we'll take our solid green, and they already pre-cut them on these on the Metra little wire harness adapter. So what we'll do is just pull that off. We'll go ahead and crimp a butt on there. Remember, it's got 2 beveled edges. You want to stick the wire in, and right there where its bevel ends, you want to crimp right there, and then where that bevel ends, right past that, you want to crimp there. It's really simple. So we'll take our green wire. See how I did there? You want to twist it. Stick it through, crimp, give it a little pull to make sure it's in there good. And then on the other side, these are not stripped, the ones that came with the radio. So all you need to do is strip it. So with these automatic strippers, it's as simple as that. Usually I don't strip them that long. That's pretty long. If you want, you can always cut it, which I will do. And now then, we will go ahead and connect them. And this is all you have to do. Just match the colors. If you got steering wheel assist, or not steering wheel assist, but steering wheel controls, then there's more into it because you have to hook up a aftermarket little device. Or if your radio needs to ground to the parking brake, then there's going to be extra wires. But for the most part, this is all you ever have to do. Okay, here's something to be aware of. Right here, I thought I connected the green wires, which I did, but this harness over here also has a green wire, solid green. So what we want to do is cut these off, do the exact same thing, except for put both these in one side. So since it's for the radio, we're just going to do it like that, put them both in and crimp it. But I figured I'd go ahead and tell you that sometimes there's not just 2 wires, sometimes there's 3, and you want to make sure all of them are together. It's real simple. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and not bore you with this. Okay, I have all these put together. As a side note, you're going to have to clean up for sure afterwards. But a lot of these aftermarket wiring harnesses will have extra wires because they make them adaptable to many different cars. So some other cars may need more wires, you know, they may have more speakers or whatever. And same thing with these aftermarket head units. Like there's a pink and a brown wire I will not use. There's nothing that corresponds with it, but other than that, everything else went together and it's perfect. So now what I like to do now is take Tessa tape. This is like a felt material. It's the stuff they use in factory wiring harnesses for like Audi and BMW and stuff. It's really nice. I enjoy it, and it keeps it from chafing, and it makes it look a lot better. So we're going to use that now. So with Tessa tape, what you want to do is you want to start a little strand here, and you go underneath, wrap it around to where the tape touches the other side of the tape, the sticky part. Touch those together and wrap it around. Now you're just going to do a clean wrap all the way down. You want to be as tight as you can with it. If you miss a spot, you can always go back. Just like that. You don't want to go all the way to the very top of these because you want them to be able to move. But you want to go just as far as you can. Well, not as far as you can, but you know what I mean. See, right there is probably where we're going to stop because it's real rigid right here. So what you do is when you're ready to stop, make a few loops backwards. Once you do a few loops backwards, just rip it. Put it on there. Now that looks a whole lot better. Okay, so take your wiring harness and find your adapters. Make sure they click in, just like that. This little blue one is your antenna. Pretty much all antennas usually look something like this. Usually it's got a chrome outline, but we'll plug all this up in just a second. Okay, so we want to go ahead and hook everything up. So like I said before, these got those hooked up there, but these only go one spot. That's little things in the middle. This one's at the bottom. So it will go at the bottom. This one will go at the top. That's still good. Then we got our backup camera. Now that I'm thinking about it, that pink wire that's coming out of that will be our backup camera. So we'll cut into this, get that pink one out. Have to cut back open to this, but if you know this ahead of time, just leave that purple or pink wire out. It's usually a pink wire that's the trigger. Be careful not to nick your other wires. So there's our pink wire. We'll get some test tape, wrap it around, let that one stick out. Go ahead and cut and crimp these. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to crank it up and test this, make sure that the wire right here, the trigger wire, is getting power before we crimp it. Okay, we're going to test our trigger wire now. As you can see, it's getting power. Okay, so we're going to get this pink wire. Should be the trigger. That's usually the color for it. I'm sure it's in the manual. If it's not this one, it's got to be that brown one. But then we'll take this, feed it in there. Make sure they're good and tight. Now then, the actual video gets its own place. It says cam in. Okay, so now we're going to see if the radio actually works, but before we do, make sure to hook up your antenna right there. The antenna wire isn't long, so I'm gonna have to put it up there. Okay, so here's the home menu. You got settings, aux, Bluetooth, Explorer, photo, movie, music, FM, and then your time. Now we're going to try reverse. I guess when you crank it up, it reboots. Not a big fan of that, but whatever. Put it in reverse. No signal. Alright, so you want to go to this top one. It says cam or CVB SIN. It's that top yellow one. So here's cam in. You want to go to this top one. And then it shows you, I got the trunk open, so it's showing the sky. Go back to park, goes back to regular. Go to reverse, goes to the camera. That's perfect. Honestly, for what you get, you know, this thing is pretty nice. Given that it's 60 bucks, you know, 59 bucks. And it's pretty quick. You know, you go to settings, you got all this. It feels pretty good about moving. I expected it to have long delays. Go here, you can set up the, you know, date. This is 2019. Change it to 12 to 24 hours depending on where you are. You know, you got your FM, you can save your stations and all that. And as you heard earlier, the video or the audio does work. So I'm actually really happy with this. The only thing is with these Chinese radios, their, you know, specifications, their dimensions are different than, you know, what's standard. Like, only you get a double din dash and it just fits perfect onto your radio. If you get Chinese ones, I've noticed that they, you you know, you have to do a little modification. Like right here, I'm gonna have to Dremel this out. I'm gonna have to Dremel this out a little bit too to give it more space, but that shouldn't be too big of a deal, especially if you're trying to save money and get a nice decent radio. I actually think this isn't a bad option. Okay, so we're going to put it back in. Remember, if you're looking at the back side of this top one's for your reverse camera. If you put it anywhere else, it's not going to work. So we'll go ahead and plug that. Okay, so you want to start these again. This one only had 3, so we can only put 3 back in. Just like that. Now we're going to put this back over it. Remember to plug up this one thing right here. It's not a very long cord, so easy to miss. Okay, once it clips in, stick it over. Everything should pop right back into place, just like that. And now we're going to get our AC controls, plug them back up. They're 2 different sizes, so you can't mess it up. And these just push in, just like that. And now we have a new radio installed. Okay, so I fixed the brightness. If you want to do that, because that was annoying me, just hit the middle knob, keep hitting it until you see bright. Then you can turn it up and down. I'm gonna keep it at 25, that seems good. Just click anywhere to get out of that. So we'll go back, because that was the aux. I ain't got nothing plugged up to the aux. But if you put in a card right there, you can actually put your photos and movies on there. Your Bluetooth, it actually works. I went ahead and tested it. You can import your contacts and all that. Let's see. Settings, you don't get a whole lot, but as you can tell, we put it in reverse, go straight to the reverse. Put it back in park and it go right back to where we need it to be. So this is what you can expect for $59. I've seen a lot of good reviews about these. Surprisingly, I kind of expected it to be junk, but it's actually really well for what it is. Okay guys, so if you found this video helpful, please give me a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.